Hi everybody, Dan Illman here, taking a look at the Stronach 5 wager for Friday, January the 17th. A $100,000 guaranteed gross pool in this week's Stronach 5, a low 12% takeout. Remember, the Stronach 5, a $1 minimum wager. Let's take a look at the first leg of this week's Stronach 5. It's the final race at Laurel on Friday, race number 8, with an approximate post time of 3:49. And as always on these Stronach 5 videos, I'm just going to give you some horses that caught my eye on the first and second passes. When it's time for you to make your final decision, I would urge you to use DRF Bet's Ticket Maker, available in Formulator and also on DRF.com, where you can play the Stronach 5 a bit more efficiently using Steve Christ's A, B, and C strategy. In the first leg of this week's Stronach 5, I'm zeroing in on two horses. They're the two morning line favorites. I prefer the horse that's the second choice on the morning line, the number 1, Sir Orinoco. The last time Sir Orinoco raced off a 2-month layoff, he exploded to an 86 Beyer win 2 starts back. A very good-looking performance where he bobbled a bit at the start, then rushed right up to take immediate command and was never threatened. In his most recent race, again he broke a little bit slow. This time he was stalking on the outside, and he ran okay to be third behind Cozy Lover. I like the fact that he has been given a similar 2-month freshening prior to that, similar to that big win 2 starts back, and he doesn't need the early lead to succeed. He's not going to get the early lead if the number 8, Fix Me a Sandwich, decides to go to the front. This horse has been showing big speed at Parks. He has won his last 3 races, most recently with an 88 Beyer speed figure, just showing that field his heels throughout. He looks like the main and controlling speed in the first leg of the Stronach 5. I definitely want to use him, but I'm also interested in Sir Orinoco, trying to repeat the pattern of the most recent win. And I think with an alert break, he's going to be up close to the pace. So I'm going to use the 1 and the 8 in equal weight in the first leg of this week's Stronach 5. Leg B is down at Gulfstream Park. This is a skull buster. Race number 8's at a mile on the turf. It is a $16,000 non-winner of 2 life claimer, and really you have to decide, what do you want to do with the number 6 Chiclet's Dream, who's just taking a precipitous drop in class for the dangerous connections of Chad Brown and Javier Castellano. But this horse has been the beaten favorite in 3 of his last 4 races, and he's lost at 5-2 in her last 5 races. Chiclet's Dream might simply be too much for these horses, and if you have another big price later on in the Stronach 5, you probably want to use. But if you want to try to beat this horse completely, you might be able to have more money on better priced horses. Chiclet's Dream for me right now is a big question mark, depending on what I think of some of these other races and some of the bigger prices. So let's look at other options. And I think the 2 Sister Gemma for Jose Ortiz and Jenna Antonucci fits this race very well. While she's still a turf maiden, 0 for 8 lifetime, she ran well the last time she raced on the grass. That was 3 starts back at Gulfstream West, where she didn't break very well, settled into a nice ground-saving, pace-tracking trip, and then finished an okay third. I think a similar trip is available to her on Friday, and her Beyer speed figure of 65 from 3 starts back, very close to the par for this level. Another nice priced option is the 8, Regal Romance. Now, this is a horse who was the beaten favorite last time out, but I thought she ran pretty well. She made a 3-wide bid on the far turn into contention, and they just didn't change leads in the stretch. Maybe that good turf course really worked against her. Perhaps firmer ground is what she wants. She has excellent tactical speed, and there should be a good amount of pace in this race. I think Regal Romance will be coming with a solid enough late run. The 10 Zodiac Princess is 10-1 on the morning line, and if you believe that she's the speed of the speed and she'll just blast out of there and show them her heels, well, then she's maybe one you want to use at a price. They tried those tactics last time out at Tampa Bay Downs. It was a race that was faster than an open $16,000 claimer. She had a clear lead in the stretch. She hopped back to her left lead. She was very tired late. It's up to Amaziel Jaramillo to get her to the front and get her to relax this time around, but you know she'll be in prime contention turning into the stretch. The key horse in this race is Chiclet's Dream. What do you want to do with her? Do you trust her dropping in class? It's almost as if Chad's saying, take her, please. I don't really think she has that much promise. She still might be too good for this field. The 4 main contenders for me are 2, 6, 8, and 10, and we'll have to decide how to use them in our Steve Christ ticket maker option. Let's go to Northern California for leg C of this week's Stronach 5. And as you see, there's a heavy favorite on the morning line, and that's the number 4, Paige Ann, who just won a maiden race on dirt at Los Alamitos, going right to the lead, taking on some pressure at about the quarter pole and digging in to win very gamely. Now, the synthetic surface is a question mark, but this is a horse that made her career debut on the turf, and that makes me think that Simon Callahan feels that this horse is going to be okay on surfaces other than dirt. Callahan also has excellent numbers when shipping up from Southern California to Golden Gate Fields. This filly looks like she's either the controlling speed or a horse that's going to be second turning into the stretch, and a repeat of any of her 2 last Beyer speed figures make her tough. A lot of folks are going to be singling Paige Ann in here, and I'm one of them. Let's go to Santa Anita for leg D of the Stronach 5. And race number 3 also happens to be the DRF.com Friday race of the day, which means you can access free formulator past performances for this race on the race of the day event page at DRF.com. And that's pretty important because those formulator past performances, they'll give you trainer stats and expanded pedigree information for many of these horses, some of them coming off long layoffs, some of them making their first lifetime starts. 3 horses sort of stand out to me. In the race of the day, the 5 Odysseus was my top selection. Odysseus is 6-1 on the morning line, despite having the best turf pedigree in the race. And the reason is because this pedigree is geared toward distances way longer than 5.5 furlongs. If she can step the 5.5, I think she's going to run well. She seems to be working well for Dick Mandela, but I do wonder if this is a starting off point. And in looking at some of the clocker reports available on DRF.com, our clockers in Southern California seem to believe that maybe this colt will want a little bit more ground as well. So while Odysseus is my top pick in the race of the day, in the Stronach 5, I'm considering relegating him now to a B on my ticket maker. I think the 7 Sky Jumper has good clocker report comments, solid workouts over the fall at Los Alamitos in company with a Bob Baffert train runner that ran off and hid in his career debut sprinting on the turf at Del Mar. The sire Jumpstart just doesn't do very well with turf runners, and the dam's a half to Pants on Fire, a middle distance graded stakes dirt horse. So this pedigree doesn't excite, but I do like the clocker comments. I do like the workouts. I think this horse will be ready to go 5.5 furlongs. Drayden Van Dyke takes the mount. And on the race of the day video, I talked about Silenced, and I said, I'm really not sure this is my kind of horse. Only raced once on turf, bolted in a race that featured Mo Forza, one of the better turf horses in the country right now. He's run fast races on dirt subsequently, and his speed should make him tough in this race. I can't let him beat me in the Stronach 5, so I'm going to use Silenced, Sky Jumper, and Odysseus in leg D. Doesn't get any easier. If you're alive for the Stronach 5, well, it's maybe time to light a novena, because leg E at 1 1/16 on the turf, 16,000, non-winners of 3 life, full field, evenly matched horses, going 1 1/16 on the turf at Gulfstream Park. I kind of narrowed this down to 3, and I'm still real nervous about only having 3 in this race. I think the 4 Yako is coming back into good form for trainer Antonio Sano. This horse had been sprinting, racing on the dirt. Last time out, they finally stretched her back out to 1 mile, and she responded with a good runner-up finish behind a next out winner, and she improved her Beyer speed figure all the way up to a 67. I like that Tyler Gaffalione takes the mount here. I think Yako at 9-2 seems like a really fair price on the tote. The 6 Tropicality at 15-1 is a horse that really interests me. Just overmatched last time out against state-bred optional claimers, pushed the pace that day and tired. 3 back going 7.5 furlongs. I thought she ran a sneaky good 4th, closing ground into a race that didn't have a lot of pace. She's the kind of mare that doesn't win very often, but she does like Gulfstream Park, and she's getting that little bit of a class drop, and at a big price, I want to use her. And I also want to use the 9 Algodono, who is stepping up in class, but has just been very sharp, winning her last 2 starts. 2 starts back coming from off the pace, last time out going right to the front. This filly is just feeling her oats, and that versatile running style should play very well in here. The 10 Liberale is a horse that I respect. I followed her on the Laurel circuit. She's just not a prolific winner. 12 second and third place combined finishes from 23 lifetime starts. And now you're going to have to deal with a 3-month layoff at a relatively short price. I'm trying to beat Liberale in the final leg of the Stronach 5 while using the 4, the 6, and the 9. It is a tough sequence as always, but it could be a very rewarding sequence. Remember, the $100,000 guaranteed gross pool in the Stronach 5, low 12% takeout, minimum $1 wager, and the first of the 5 races in this sequence begins with Laurel Park Race 8. It has an approximate post of 3:49 on Friday afternoon. Best of luck.